No matter the location, from O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? We're going to break down some Raiders rumors and NFL trade rumors around Aaron Rodgers. Now, I'm just going to say this. When I made this show to be able to give you guys my honest opinion and not only to educate, but to actually create talking topics, because I used to love going to restaurants, bars, hanging out with my family, and we talk about this difficult discussions. So if what you see on today's show makes you so upset that you can't sleep at night, that's a you problem. It's not a me problem. So let's first talk about Aaron Rodgers and the latest going on around him. The report right now is that he is looking for a new deal. Before I started the show, he went on the Pat McAfee show and said that there's no reason that I wouldn't be back in Green Bay, but there are no absolutes. The other question here is this: will Green Bay turn to Jordan Love in 2021? I thought it was funny. The Green Bay Packers general manager came out and said, we're not idiots, basically referring to that they're not going to move on from Aaron Rodgers. If you're not an idiot, then you would have built around Rodgers in the 2020 draft instead of drafting his replacement and then getting another running back in round 2 when you already had Aaron Jones. So for that, I do think you might be a little bit of an idiot. Now, Aaron Rodgers, this is his exact quote about his future with the Packers. I don't think that there's any reason why I wouldn't be back, but there's not many absolutes, as you guys know in the business. To make an absolute statement about something is not an absolute, and I didn't do it. I guess that's why it went kind of nuts. And as soon as Aaron Rodgers didn't fully commit to going back to the Green Bay Packers, that's where you started to see all these rumors started to pop up. That's where you started to see a team name like the Las Vegas Raiders get inserted into the equation, and my show is about this: giving you guys my honest opinion on whether or not I think it actually makes sense for the Raiders to go out and get Aaron Rodgers. Now, let me say this. If the trade does happen, oh yeah, you can bet your ass we're going to be live. We're going to be going wild. But if you also just want to be able to have these tough conversations, because that's how you get better as a person, as a sports franchise, hit the big red button that says subscribe. Join our live shows. They're free. Hopefully you guys have a good time. And yes, make sure you guys turn on those notifications. All right, let's get into today's show. Aaron Rodgers to the Las Vegas Raiders. What's the chance of this happening? How many Chucky heads? If I say 4 Chucky heads, it means it's a 100% chance it's going to happen. I'm going to say 1 Chucky head. And when I say 1 Chucky head, I'm saying like a freckle of a Chucky head. Because like in terms of this happening, I believe that there is like a 1% chance. And I am a big believer that he's going to stay in Green Bay. The Packers would be stupid to end up moving on from him. However, obviously, the Raiders were listed as a destination for Rodgers because any single time somebody from big-time media sees, ooh, quarterback, oh, Jon Gruden, oh, why not make it happen? My job is to be able to give you guys the truth, and my job is to be able to sit here and tell you whether or not you should do it. So let's just say, though, the Packers get crazy, and Aaron Rodgers wants a new contract. I mean, he's going to be the NFL MVP after all. Let's say Green Bay's like, you know what, nah. We're not going to do that. We're going to trust a guy like Jordan Love, who, by the way, was their 3rd-string quarterback this year. That should tell you everything you need to know. And he's like, you know what? I want the hell out of there. I want to be traded. Now, PFT, okay, Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, who is an absolute joke of a person, if we're going to be honest, he put out some potential Rodgers trade spots. He listed the 49ers. That spot makes sense. The Patriots, I personally don't think that Rodgers will go there, but they do make sense. Pittsburgh Steelers makes no sense because Big Ben's going to make $41 million in 2021. I get that he could retire, but let's be real. You're going to make $41 million. You're going to come back and play another year. The Raiders don't really make a lot of sense. The Indianapolis Colts might be the number 1 team in terms of making the most sense. Them and the 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. Now, before I tell you whether or not the Raiders should go out and make the trade and what the trade's going to look like, I got a special offer going on right now at BetUS. So if you guys want to go ahead and bet on Super Bowl 55, you should absolutely do it. I know it's the game that none of us really wanted, Chiefs, Buccaneers at least. Maybe I'm just speaking from personal experience here. But if you do want to bet on Super Bowl 55, go to chatsports.com/Raiders. And I got a special offer only valid for the month of January. So for the rest of the month, okay? For the rest of the month, and it's for new BetUS customers only. If you go ahead and get started with my promo code, I am going to get you guys a free Raiders jersey. So all you got to do, okay, if you want a Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, we got hundreds of Raiders jerseys. If you want a free Raiders jersey, you got to go ahead, get started. Chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. Put down $100, get $125 for free, and you get a free jersey. If all you heard was free jersey, Don't worry, I got you covered. Email me for the details. You can see it the link below. Raiders@chatsports.com. Email me for the details. I'll get you guys set up. And again, this offer is only valid for the month of January. As soon as February 1st comes around, you lost your chance. So now let's look at this Aaron Rodgers potential trade cost. I saw this on IG, and I love the internet because if you see it on the internet, it has to be true, right? I actually think that it would probably cost even a little bit more, but for this show's sake, let's say this is what it would cost the Raiders to end up bringing in a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. So the Raiders receive Rodgers. The Packers receive the 2021 first-round pick, 17 overall, a 2021 third-round pick, and a 2022 first-round pick. My question I'm going to ask you is, would you make this trade? So you're the Raiders, you're Mike Mayock, you're Jon Gruden. Would you honestly make this trade? I want you to type Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. Be honest with me, because I'm about to be really honest with y'all. So go down in the comments. Let me know. Would you honestly make this trade? Now, you have to remember, if you're typing Y for yes that you would make this trade, the Green Bay Packers, they wouldn't want Derek Carr because they're already committed to Jordan Love. So, therefore, if the Packers wouldn't want Derek Carr, that means Carr's trade value would drop a little bit because obviously if you're going to go out and trade for Rodgers, you're going to go out and trade for another quarterback, you're going to move on from D.C. I don't know exactly what he would get. I'm still a believer that he could probably get a first-round pick. I'm sure there's a team out there potentially like the Indianapolis Colts that would offer a first-round pick for him. But I'm in the range that Carr's probably more of a first, maybe second-round pick. And if this trade happens, his trade value goes down even more. So the question that I asked you, would you make this trade? Raiders receive Aaron Rodgers, Packers receive this amount of draft picks. If the trade actually would have happened, the answer is simple. Yes, you 100% make this trade because as much as I like Derek Carr, if there is an opportunity for you to go out and get the NFL MVP for realistically only 2 first-round picks, and which, by the way, if you're drafting or if you're going to go out and trade Rodgers, I bet you that 2022 first-round pick is going to be late in the 20s. At least it better damn be. So, I actually think that's an absolute steal, the trade that I just showed you. And I'm actually surprised the amount of people that are typing their N for no. Not only that, it is actually cheaper to have Aaron Rodgers in 2021 than it will be for Derek Carr. If I told you right now, if you could go out and trade for Aaron Rodgers, this is how much you have to pay him for the next 3 years. Why? The way his contract is set up, the Green Bay Packers would have to eat a bunch of it. So you could get the NFL MVP for an average of $24.3 million over the next 3 years. That's insane. You can get him for $22 million, cheaper than Derek Carr. And on top of that, I'm hoping that the Raiders can start drafting better, but I don't have a lot of confidence because if I told you right now you could trade Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, and a third-round pick, let's say Tanner Muse, to go get Aaron Rodgers, everyone watching the show I think would do it in a heartbeat. And then if you wouldn't, I'm sorry, you'd be dumb not to. And until the Raiders can prove to me that you're able to draft early on, draft picks to me are a little bit overrated because I'll take a guy that I guarantee I know he's a freak of nature. So draft picks, money, it all comes into the equation. So I know I asked you earlier on, would you make the trade for Aaron Rodgers? How about now? If I told you you could have DC for $22.1 million or Aaron Rodgers for $22 million in 2021. I think the answer is very simple. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that say, oh, I would stick with Derek Carr. If the trade that I showed you and you would still stick with Derek Carr, you're not a very smart person. I'm sorry. It's the truth. That's what the show's all about. Let's go to the next thing here. The other reason why I would honestly make this trade if it were to honestly happen is because Derek Carr, does he have only 2 years left in Las Vegas? I am going to give this one 3 Chucky heads. I think that it's pretty likely. Carr is a top 10 fringe quarterback. However, if I get the exact same numbers that I've gotten from Derek Carr, let's just say the last 3 years, or even if I get the same numbers I did in 2020, where he had a career-high yards, he had 27 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, if I get that the next 2 years, I don't think that the Raiders extend him. I wouldn't want to extend him. Is his contract great? Absolutely. Right now, in terms of how much quarterbacks are making, $22.1 million in 2021, that's the 16th highest. That's an absolute steal for a quarterback like DC. And then you got to come into account that there's going to be other quarterbacks that get bigger deals. Like, we could realistically be looking at Derek Carr having the 20th highest, or 20th, I guess, best contract at quarterback. a steal. And then in 2022, 19.9. His contract is so favorable in terms of what a quarterback's going to be making the next 2 years. It's great. However, I don't think that when 2023 comes around, I'm honestly going to go out and pay Derek Carr another, $35 million a year, because that's probably what it's going to end up costing. I'm not going to end up doing that. So knowing everything that you know about DC, will the Raiders extend Carr after the 2022 season? Type E for extend, type N for no. If he comes out and absolutely balls out, the Raiders make it to the playoffs the next 2 years, I'll say yes, it totally changes the equation. I'm saying this. If I get the Derek Carr and the exact same results that I've gotten, basically that I got in 2020, 2019, 2018, I ain't doing it. And if you think that you would, sorry, you shouldn't. You go out, you draft another quarterback, or bring somebody else in. E for extend, type N for no. All right, here we go. We're going to talk now about the NFL draft as promised. Mel Kiper did his latest mock, and he had the Las Vegas Raiders drafting Jaelan Phillips at pick number 17. Would you guys draft Jaelan Phillips at pick 17? I'm going to give this one only one Chucky head, and I'm going to say it's a small shred of truth for the simple fact of the other players that were still on the board. I would be pretty upset and pretty disappointed in the Raiders taking Phillips instead of the other guys. Now, I get that Mel does a good job, I think, a lot of times in his mock draft. Personally, we have a better guy here at Chat Sports. His name's Tom Downey. Go give him a follow at What Going Downey for draft coverage. But I understand that need right now for the Raiders is edge. There is no doubt about that. I mean, you got to look at the defensive line. Huge need. Kiper also goes on to say that he thinks that Phillips could be the best edge in 2021. If you honestly think that Phillips is going to be the best edge in 2021 draft, sure, this makes a lot more sense. I personally just don't believe that. So what you're about to see come on screen is it's what we call a quote graphic, okay? I know you guys don't know what that means, but it's going to be exactly what Mel Kiper said in his article about the Raiders taking Jaelan Phillips. So stick with me. This is a strange draft in that there are no dominant pass rushers. Phillips could be the top edge prospect, and I only have a mid-first round grade on him. But he had a dominant season for the Hurricanes after transferring from UCLA, where he had ended his career because of concussion issues. Second part, the former five-star prospect missed the 2019 season and then ended up in Miami, where he had 5.5 sacks in his final 3 games. Depending on his medical checks, Phillips could rise even higher. Last part of the article. The Raiders, meanwhile, had one of the NFL's worst pass rushes again, 21 sacks, 4th worst, and had only 2 sacks from former number 4 overall pick Clelin Ferrell. The issues that I have with that, if you're still talking about Clelin Ferrell getting sacks, you clearly didn't watch football, Mel. I'm sorry. Clelin was by far the best defensive lineman this Raiders team had, playing inside and outside. He was doing it all. So the picks that went right before Phillips were this. Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle from Virginia Tech, who I like a lot. Vera Tucker, offensive lineman from USC. I know some of y'all have been saying, Mitch, check out this guy. Mac Jones, he went to the Patriots. Caleb Farley, which is actually probably my top cornerback prospect in this year's draft. Another guy from Virginia Tech. And then Jaelan Phillips. The biggest issue that I have with this, look at some of these other players available at 17. No disrespect to Jaelan Phillips. He is a good defensive end, and I think he will, if he can stay healthy and if the concussion issues don't pop up again, he's going to be a good player. 6.5 sacks, I believe the final 5 games in this past year. But I would take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker from Notre Dame, over him in a heartbeat. Kwity Paye is a little bit of a coin flip. The more and more I watch him, the more and more I don't know if I like him. He has an amazing skill set. But at the end of the day, he doesn't really put up good numbers on the field. Greg Garuso, give me him. Zaven Collins, give me him. Christian Barmore, give me him. The fact that he took Jaelan Phillips over all 5 of these guys, it was puzzling to me. So, not grading me, I want you to grade Mel Kiper. Jaelan Phillips at pick number 17 overall, knowing now the players that were drafted before him, knowing that some of the other players that were also on the board, what would you grade the pick? A, B, C, D, or F? So go down in the comments. If you're watching this live, awesome. I love people that are watching. Appreciate everyone right now. I see David, Puke Boogie, Dale Webb Jr. Right now the live audience is going with D and F, which it doesn't really surprise me. I see a C in there. The grade that I'm going to give this is this. I'm going to give it a C grade. It's an average grade. And I know a lot of people, when I release my, we'll say, draft grades or free agency grades, people get mad at me because they think I'm too harsh. To me, C is average, B is good, A is great. D, not good, and then F is an absolute fail. I will say that I think schools nowadays give out A's and B's a little bit too easily. So when somebody sees a C, they freak out. When somebody sees a D, they definitely freak out. Somebody sees an F, oh my Lord, it's a fail. This is an average pick. You fill a need, a player that does have some upside. However, with all those other players still left on the board, I was pretty disappointed overall. Those were the news and rumors. If you guys need anything else from me, you can always hit me up on IG. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365.